How sweet the sound that sings of rest. Thank you. I did. Yes, I did. I can't believe I did that.
Have you ever wondered what a 911 call can reveal? On the night of October 12, 2012, a chilling female voice rang out. I just killed my boyfriend. 6 bullets, a bizarre performance in an interrogation room, and the horrifying statement. I gave him the nose job he always wanted. This isn't a tragic love story. It's a tale of deadly obsession, when the line between love and possession blurs, when passion and destruction are just a trigger pull apart. Welcome to the Case Files, where we explore shocking cases, unsolved mysteries, and the stories behind sensational headlines. Today, we're diving deep into a case that has shaken American public opinion for over a decade. A story about the fragile boundary between love and ownership, between passion and destruction. In this episode, we're taking a deep dive into the infamous case of the Highland Heights murder, when love becomes fatal obsession, the case of Shayna Hubers, and the tragic death of Ryan Poston, a case that was tried twice and left a deep mark in Kentucky's judicial history. The fateful night, October 12, 2012. Highland Heights, Kentucky, a peaceful suburb just 15 minutes' drive from Cincinnati. Upscale homes nestled under maple trees, turning golden in the autumn air. This is where young, successful professionals chose to build their lives, where crime rarely occurred. But at 9:12 p.m. on October 12, 2012, that silence was shattered by a ringing phone at Campbell County's 911 dispatch center. 911, what's your emergency? Ma'am, I just killed my boyfriend. The voice on the other end wasn't the panicked screaming you might imagine. Instead, it had a terrifying calmness, as if reporting a minor traffic accident. Can you repeat that? I shot my boyfriend in self-defense. He hit me. The caller identified herself as Shayna Michelle Hubers, 21, a graduate student in psychology at Northern Kentucky University. The victim was identified as Ryan Carter Poston, 29, a talented young attorney working at a prestigious law firm in Cincinnati. The 911 call lasted 18 minutes, a call that would become the most crucial evidence in the case. The mysterious 15 minutes. What happened in the time between when Shayna shot Ryan and when she called 911? Shayna admitted she waited at least 15 minutes. Who waits 15 minutes after self-defense before calling for help? Crime scene. Evidence that cannot be hidden. Lieutenant Dave Fornash and his colleague were the first to arrive at the scene. Following the dispatcher's instructions, Shayna stepped out of the apartment with her hands in front of her. We instructed her to lie down on the ground, Lieutenant Fornash recalled. When I entered the apartment, I saw Ryan Poston's body on the dining room floor, behind the dining room table. What they witnessed wasn't the scene of self-defense, but a brutal execution. Ryan Poston, a 6'1" man with blonde hair and blue eyes, lay motionless on the dark hardwood floor. His gold-framed glasses were still on his face, but his once handsome face had been completely destroyed. 6 bullet wounds pierced his body, 2 to the head, 1 to the face, 1 to the chest, one to the side and one to the back. 6 bullets from the Smith & Wesson .380 that Ryan had bought to protect himself. The strangest thing was, there were no signs of a struggle. The apartment was neat, with only a pool of blood spreading around the body, and blood spatters on the walls and expensive oak dining table. The entire crime scene completely contradicted the self-defense story Detective Charlie Birkenhauer, who had 25 years of homicide investigation experience, observed. This wasn't the scene of a life-or-death struggle. Shayna Hubers. Deceptive appearance. When police brought Shayna to the station for questioning, they faced a beautiful young woman, about 5'5", with long brown hair and clear blue eyes. Shayna wore a pink t-shirt and jeans, with no signs of violence on her body. She looked like any college student you might meet on campus, one investigator described. No one could think that she had just killed a man with 6 bullets. But behind that innocent appearance was a complex and troubling psychology. During the nearly 48-hour interrogation, Shayna displayed a series of bizarre behaviors that would become the most crucial evidence against her. The fateful relationship, from Facebook to tragedy. To understand the deep cause leading to the tragedy, we must go back to spring 2011. Ryan Poston, then 28, had just graduated from Chase College of Law and started his career at the law firm Whitlow, Roberts & Houston in Cincinnati. He was the model of young success, handsome, intelligent, with a promising career and high income. Ryan owned a luxury apartment in the elegant Kenwood Place building, drove a BMW Series 3, and had plans to buy his own house in the near future. One evening in late April 2011, while browsing Facebook, Ryan happened to see a spring break photo of Shayna Hubers. In the photo, the 19-year-old girl wore a red bikini, posing on Myrtle Beach with a radiant smile and an attractive figure. Wow, beautiful pic, Ryan had messaged. A simple message that would change both their lives and ultimately cost him his life. Shayna Michelle Hubers was born January 31st, 1991, in Norwood, Ohio, to a middle-class family. She was the youngest of 2 children, described as an excellent student with big ambitions. After graduating high school with outstanding achievements, Shayna studied at the University of Kentucky, majoring in psychology. But behind the perfect exterior were deep psychological issues. Mull with a hellish loop. 18 tonic months. Ryan and Shayna's relationship quickly developed into a complex situationship, unofficial but extremely stressful. In 18 months, they broke up and got back together dozens of times. Evidence of the obsession lay in Ryan's iPhone. 5. When investigators examined the victim's phone, they discovered a massive volume of messages, over 56,000 texts from Shayna in 18 months. This meant Ryan received nearly 100 messages from her every day on average. A typical day. 6:10 a.m. Good morning, baby. 6:05 a.m. You're awake. 6:10 a.m. Why aren't you answering? 6:05 a.m. Answer me now. 6:05 a.m. I'm coming over. 6:25 a.m. Don't make me break down the door. 6:30 a.m. I'm sorry, baby. I love you so much. There were days Ryan only replied to 2 to 3 messages, but received up to 150 texts from Shayna, Detective Birkenhauer analyzed. This wasn't love. This was systematic stalking. Warning signs. Ryan's friends and colleagues began worrying when they witnessed changes in his personality. Ryan, who was naturally outgoing and social, became withdrawn and tense. Ryan started hiding his phone when we were together, colleague attorney Michael Dressman recalled. He constantly looked down at his screen with a worried expression. Alessa Bachman, another close friend of Ryan's, said, "Once we went to dinner together. In 2 hours, Ryan's phone buzzed continuously. Finally, he had to turn it off and said, 'I'll have to pay for this later.'" Shayna began showing up at Ryan's workplace uninvited. Some days she sat in her car outside the office for hours, Secretary Sarah Mitchell recounted. When Ryan left work, she followed right behind. It was very concerning. But the biggest warning sign appeared in September 2012, when Ryan decided to buy a gun for self-defense, a Smith & Wesson .380 ACP. Ryan wasn't a gun person, Matt Herron recalled. The fact that he bought a gun showed he was truly scared. The deadly message. Evidence of premeditation. October 1st, 2012, just 11 days before the murder, Shayna and Ryan went together to the Silver Eagle Group shooting range in Ashland, Kentucky. This was Shayna's first exposure to firearms. What she did next would become the most crucial evidence showing this wasn't a crime of passion. Right after returning home, Shayna sent a message to her best friend, Holly Nivette. "OMG, I'm so glad we went to the gun range today. When I was standing behind Ryan at the shooting range, I just wanted to turn around and shoot him and kill him and just make it look like an accident." LOL JK, but not really, Holly Nivette later testified to police. "I thought Shayna was just joking, but the way she wrote JK but not really made me feel uncomfortable." This was clear evidence that the intent to kill had been brewing for at least 11 days before the crime. Late September. Ryan's determination to end it. By late September 2012, Ryan Poston finally had the courage to face the truth. His relationship with Shayna was destroying his life. "Ryan called me and said, 'I can't continue like this anymore. She's driving me crazy.'" Matt Herron recalled the final phone conversation with his best friend. Ryan began changing the apartment locks and refusing to see Shayna. He also started dating other women, something Shayna quickly discovered by monitoring his social media accounts. Audrey Bolta, the last straw. On October 3rd, 2012, Ryan Poston matched with Audrey Bolta on the dating site Match.com. Audrey wasn't an ordinary girl. She had just been crowned Miss Ohio USA 2012 and was preparing for Miss USA. Audrey Bolta, 25, stood 5'8", with golden blonde hair and a radiant smile. She had a bachelor's degree in communications from the University of Cincinnati and was pursuing a career as a model and host. Ryan was very excited about this date, his friend said. He said Audrey was completely different from Shayna, independent, successful, and didn't seem to need to cling to him. The first date was scheduled for Friday evening, October 12th, 2012, at Brio Tuscan Grill Bar in Cincinnati. Shayna had discovered this date through Facebook. October 12th, 2012, the plan executed. The afternoon of October 12th, Ryan Poston finished his weekend work at the office. He went home to prepare for his date with Audrey Bolta, a date he had been looking forward to all week. Ryan showered and changed into formal clothes, white dress shirt, gray slacks, and a navy blue blazer. He sprayed Armani Code cologne, an expensive fragrance he only used for special occasions. At 6:30 p.m., Ryan called Audrey to confirm their date. "I'm really looking forward to meeting you," Ryan said over the phone. "I'll be at Brio at 7:30. But Ryan would never get the chance to go to Brio. Around 7 p.m., Shayna Hubers appeared at the Kenwood Place building. She had a key to Ryan's apartment, a key he had asked for back many times, but she refused to return. 7:45 p.m., 6 fatal shots, according to forensic expert Howard Ryan's analysis, based on body position and blood patterns at the scene. First shot. While Ryan was still sitting at the dining table, Shayna retrieved the Smith & Wesson .380 from the kitchen drawer and fired one shot into his forehead from about 3 meters away. The bullet went through Ryan's forehead, causing him to collapse onto the table immediately. Blood began flowing from the wound, but importantly, there was no blood on the front of his shirt, proving Ryan never stood up to attack Shayna, as she later claimed. Second shot. When Ryan collapsed onto the table, his head, down, his upper back was exposed. Shayna moved closer and fired one shot into his upper back. Third shot. Ryan was now lying on his side, his right arm hanging down. Shayna fired one shot into his right armpit area. Fourth shot. One shot to the left chest. Fifth shot. Ryan had now fallen to the floor, lying on his back and convulsing. Shayna stood beside him and fired one shot into his face. Sixth shot. The final shot to the head when Ryan was completely unconscious. Based on blood patterns and bullet wound positions, we can accurately reconstruct this sequence, expert Howard Ryan explained. This wasn't self-defense. This was an execution. Interrogation room. 48 hours revealing true nature. After being read her Miranda rights, Shayna was taken to Interrogation Room 3 at Campbell County Police Department. The small 384-meter room had only a metal table, 2 chairs, and a camera mounted on the wall. What happened in the next 48 hours became the most undeniable evidence against Shayna Hubers. The most notable thing was Shayna's behavior when no one was watching. The security camera recorded a bizarre solo performance that no one could have imagined. 9:30 p.m. October 13th, 4 hours after arrest, Shayna began pacing around the room. She snapped her fingers rhythmically, as if listening to music in her head. 2:15 a.m. October 14th, she stood in front of the one-way mirror and began dancing. Graceful, seductive movements, as if performing for someone. 6:30 a.m. October 14th, Shayna sang the hymn Amazing Grace in a clear voice. Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound, that saved a wretch like me. 8:45. October 14th. She looked straight at the camera and talked to herself. I did it. Yes, I did that. I killed him, and I don't regret it. But the most horrifying statement was recorded at 2:20 p.m., October 14th. When Detective Birkenhauer returned to the interrogation room and asked about the reason for shooting Ryan multiple times in the face, Shayna answered with a cold smile. He was very vain and always obsessed with his appearance. He once told me he wanted plastic surgery to fix his nose because it was a bit crooked. So, I shot him right there. I broke his nose. I gave him the nose he always wanted, a completely flat nose. This statement stunned the entire interrogation room. These weren't the words of a frightened victim, but of a killer reveling in her crime. 2 trials, 1 verdict. First trial, April 2015. The evidence was overwhelming. The 911 call, forensics, the interrogation footage, and testimony from friends about Shayna's obsessive behavior. After 5 hours, the jury convicted her of first-degree murder. Sentence, 40 years. Unexpected twist, 2016. 1 year later, the court discovered a juror had concealed a felony conviction, disqualifying him from jury service under Kentucky law. The entire trial was overturned. Second trial, August 2018. The retrial produced the same result. After 5 hours of deliberation, exactly as before, the jury found Shayna guilty again. This time, life in prison, eligible for parole in 2032. At sentencing, Ryan's father, Jay Poston, spoke through tears. For 6 years, we've lived in hell. My son deserved to live a full life. Judge Daniel Zala was unmoved by Shayna's apology. I have never seen genuine remorse from the defendant. Your actions were exceedingly violent and deliberate. Shayna today. Shayna Hubers, now 34, is serving her life sentence at Kentucky Correctional Institution for Women in Pewee Valley. She married a fellow inmate in June 2018, but divorced within a year. The Kentucky Supreme Court denied her appeal in 2020. According to former inmates, Shayna remains unrepentant, maintaining an arrogant attitude and claiming superiority over others. She can file for parole for the first time in 2032, when she'll be 41 years old. Conclusion. The case of Shayna Hubers, Ryan Poston, isn't just a story about love turning into deadly obsession, but also a profound lesson about many modern social issues. Painful lessons, recognizing signs of toxic relationships. Partner controls all your activities, demands 24/7 attention, threatens suicide or harm when rejected. Stalking, following behavior, doesn't respect personal boundaries. The importance of seeking help. Ryan tried many ways to escape the toxic relationship, but didn't seek help from authorities. Perhaps if he had filed a restraining order or reported stalking behavior, the tragedy could have been avoided. Ryan Poston's legacy. Ryan's family established the Ryan Poston Foundation to help domestic violence victims and organize relationship safety education programs. We couldn't save Ryan, but we hope our son's story will save others, J. Poston shared. If you need help, call immediately. National Domestic Violence Hotline, 1-800-799-SAFE, 7223. Crisis. Text line. Text START to 741741. Remember, you are not alone. This is not your fault. Help is available. Your safety matters more than anything. Final words. Shayna Hubers. Today is a 34-year-old woman sitting in prison with a life sentence. Ryan Poston is forever the 29-year-old attorney with unfinished dreams. Their story doesn't have a happy ending, but it can be the beginning of other stories. Stories of escape, of seeking help, of recognizing the boundary between love and possession. That is the legacy Ryan Poston left behind, a warning that could save other lives. Thank you for following the case files. If this story means something to you, please share it to raise awareness about domestic violence. Subscribe to our channel to not miss other cases, and let us know in the comments. Where is the line between love and obsession? See you in the next episode of the Case Files. Stay safe, stay aware, and remember, love should never hurt.